Tēnā tātou, we're going to start off with our karakia for our puoro session today. And we can either share a karakia to do together, or would somebody like to volunteer to do a karakia? But I've got a good one here too. So no pressure, whānau. Okay, everybody, here's our karakia for today. What we're going to do is we're going to go from this last part of it here, okay? Which is from the ko te ao whekere. Can everyone see that okay? Cool. Okay, we're going to do this part here. So the karakia is in two parts. The first part is actually going through the evening, the night. This is the day. So we're going to go through this part. Ko te ao whekere, ko te ao whatuma, ko te ao mārama, ko te ao tūroa, tupu kere kere, tupu wana wana, ko rēhia, ko hine rau ka tauri, ko hine rau katamea, ko hine moana, ko hine moki moki, ko pepe, ko wao nui, ko wao roa, ko te kū, te whē, te more. Iahu mai koe i hia, iahu mai koe i tāwhiti tai, tāwhiti uta, tāwhiti runga, tāwhiti rau. Ka puta ko pū tōrino, ko pū tātara, ko pū kaia, ko pū moto moto, ko pū rerehua, ko pū oro. Ngā reo wa wai tī, ngā reo wa wai tā. Te reo wa io, te reo ā io. Te reo mā, te reo uri, te reo mauri. Te reo tū wā, uhi, wairo, tau mai te hauora, haumi e, hui e, tai ki e. Tēnā tātou, that karakia there, you're not expected to say that. That's really just to open up our session here today. Karakia are really important for leading out in our sessions, especially when the kids, you know, if we're teaching our tamariki, they're transitioning between different zones and they come into our music class and we want them to be, this is the place where we make a wairua connection. This is the place where we get them to speak from the depths inside of themselves. So therefore, our class has to be quite different than the rest of the school. And they may have done karakia, but don't be afraid to lead out with karakia as well to settle everybody down and give them maybe something that's aligned to sound production, to connection to sound as well. So that's something that maybe by the end of these sessions too, we can look at a really simple karakia, or you can share what karakia you do use. And you can actually do that into the chat right now if you like. Do you have a karakia practice you have in your class? And what kind of karakia do you use? And you could write up the karakia, or you're even welcome to share that karakia in the chat if you want to cut and paste it, if you have it. Ka pai, we have a few new faces to our hui. So without further ado, we're going to go around into our little whakawhanaungatanga. So what we'll do is we go around, just say who you are and maybe what school you're at the moment, or which part of Aotearoa you're currently in. And yeah, and anything, you know, small around puoro that you have any experience with taonga puoro and that. And I know we've shared that before, and we can keep on going on that. So I'll start off. Tēnei te mihi atu kia koutou, ko ngongo taha te maunga, ko rotorua nui a kahu te moana, ko Kelly Kahukiwa tōku ingoa. My name's Kelly. I'm one of the hosts here with Horomona, who's just joined us as well. Of these sessions here, where we get to take you on a journey online around navigating through how to integrate Māori music, from traditional music to probably more contemporary, into your classrooms, and to help you to navigate some of those things that you don't know around tikanga, ihi, wehi, wana, mana, tapu, all those kind of words that come out in Te Ao Māori. And Horomona and myself are here to help to facilitate that, along with some of our other people in the group too, who have that experience, who are, you know, who come from Māori backgrounds too. No, that's me, and I'd like to pass the rākau, which is well, actually, does someone else know how to type up that phrase of how to pass the rākau? I'm going to pass it over to Stephen. Tēnā koe, Stephen. Mauri ora.
Kia ora. I'm Stephen. I'm originally from Te Tai Tokoro, but I'm living in Canterbury now. So all the way down the other end of the country. Just caught up with the last 3 sessions online because I couldn't make it, and just glad to be here tonight. So kia ora.
Kia ora,
and
Stephen.
I'll pass the rākau to Emily.
Kia ora, everyone. I am in Auckland at the moment, but normally I live on Wurundjeri country in Melbourne, in Australia. I was really lucky yesterday that I got to go and visit Tuawhā and Adele at their school, and it was completely amazing. And Tuawhā, we had an amazing kōrero, and she also shared the whangapūro that she's been using. And so I have also been watching online, and I'm really grateful to be here and to learn from you all. Thank you.
Kia ora, welcome Emily. Mauri ora, kia ora. And would you like to pass, just choose someone else's name? Actually, if everyone can use their hand up, put your hand up there, like, where are we?
And can I pass the raku? I think it's got Ben, but maybe that's not Ben.
Kia ora. Ben Wood, over to you.
Good spotting. It's not Ben. I left my charger at work, so I'm on the home computer, and then I logged on. I was like, oh, that's not my name. I'm Sarah. I'm at Inglewood High School. So I found these last few weeks really useful. So yeah, we're just trying to build up our department. It's a little rural school with 500 students, and this is an area that I'm really weak in, so something that I'm enjoying learning about and trying to incorporate more into my teaching.
Kia ora, Sarah. If you have a look inside of the chat, we've got the phrase ka hoatu au I te rākau kōrero ki a, and it's a phrase to pass it on if you want to have a go at te reo Māori, otherwise just pass the rākau to somebody else.
Yeah, I'll pass to Lenny.
Kia ora, I am Lenny. I'm a music teacher at Belmont Intermediate School in Devonport. Teach 650 students their music lessons throughout the week, and try to incorporate a little bit of knowledge around tangaporo and that. I'll pass to Carmel.
Kia ora, ko Carmel Tokalingoa, music teacher at Western Springs Ngapuno Waioria with Victoria. And my exciting thing, our exciting thing is that last year we had this incredible student who was learning how to carve, and they carved us our first ever pukaya because I was complaining that our department had absolutely no tangaporo, and it's the most beautiful pukaya in the world. It's called Orea. But now they've just gone nuts. So last week a purerehua arrived, and then this week 3 porotiti have arrived. And then they also take the time to teach us how to play them. And our collection is exploding, and I'm so excited. It's so cool. We're really lucky. Ka hoatu o te rākau kōrero ki a Stephen.
We've already had Stephen, and I'll pass it over to, I'll grab it mid-ear and I'll throw it over to Ron. Kia ora, Ron. Just paku here, paku.
So my name's Ron Tomipo. I work in the health sector, working in addictions and mental health. I've always come along. I enjoy these spaces because this is about resonating with people, no matter how old or where they are. So yeah, kei te mihi kia koutou. Yeah, enjoying the time. So kia ora.
Kia ora, Ron. Who's it going to next, Ron?
Is it Tavani?
Nei ho, kia mau te rākau. Ngā mihi o te pō kia koutou, e hoa mā, e tino hariko te ngākau, to see us all here together. So lovely to see some new faces, and just for those of us who have been here, loving the learning and enjoying learning with you. Yes, wonderful to have Emily with us from Melbourne. She'll be going around to a few kura around New Zealand, and real grateful to have her in our spaces too. Kia ora. Hoa te rākau ai mō kia te tata. Horo!
Kia tātou te whānau. I'm coming from side of the road on the East Coast Highway 35. And bouncing between Disney and Victoria. And so, yeah, it's awesome. Like I'm doing some mahi with tomorrow. I'm working with some tradies,
And so using, once again, taonga pūoro as that conduit, as that tool of communication in the many different fields that ones like myself and Kelly work in, and just to let our whānau from all over the place know that taonga pūoro is interconnected to every part of our community. And so in that whānau, it's been awesome, and I really loved what you said, Carmel, in terms of, you know, the building of your school's collection and how people are just gravitating and just gifting those, because that's how it happens. It starts a domino effect and people start feeling the awesomeness of the wairua, and that's where movement is created and is happening. So it's really awesome to hear that. That's a great gem to share with us this week.
Kia ora, Horo, we're losing you, brother. You have become a taonga pūoro in outer space.
Yeah, those types of instruments do end up being those real
Ka pai, Horo, we're going to have to pass the rākau over there, my friend. We've lost
I'll
we've lost
find a better
communication.
spot, but I'll let you carry on.
Kia ora, hoa. Kia ora. I'll pass the rākau over to Adele. Tēnā koe, Adele.
Kia ora, ko Porongia te maunga, ko Waikato te awa. Ka tū ki uta ki te waka o Tainui, ko te tangata o rongo, ko Huturoa, ko Papa Oro tū te marae, ko Ngāti Māhanga Haurua te hapu. Kia ora, I'm Adele, teaching at Noida, Te Kura o Noida in Hamilton, with Trevi. Lovely to see you, Emily, and safe travels on your journey. I'm still to learn, I'm hoping to learn most of our taonga pūoro hands-on through Trevi, but we're still to get there, and I love the kōrero though in this Wānanga together. Kia ora, ka ho atu au I te rākau kōrero ki
Pauline, we've got Pauline.
I want it. Kia ora, Victoria.
Victoria, kia ora.
Oh.
Kia ora tātou, ko Victoria taku ingoa. I too work at Western Springs College, Ngā Puna o Waiorea, in Tamaki Makaurau, and I think something that kind of aligns with the kaupapa of this group happened today, which I would like to say thank you to Carmel for, which was we had a trip to the APO orchestra today, and in previous years we haven't really, for one reason or another, I've only been a teacher for 1 year, so big talks here, but we had a really big turnout of Māori kids keen to go to the orchestra today. I think we had 14 kids from the English medium, and we had 42 kids going, so that was super, super special, and warmed my heart to have our ākonga there and experiencing something that a lot of them actually haven't before. So thank you, Carmel, for that one. Anyone else? I'm just going to check, see if there's anyone.
Pauline, pass the Pauline.
Oh, yeah, sweet. Okay, cool. Ka hoatu au I te rākau kōrero kia Pauline.
Tēnā koe.
Thank you. I thought I'll probably get out of it because I'm only the admins or administrator, sort of hanging out in the background. But it's so awesome to see you all and hear what you're doing. And it really does feel like a movement to me, just more and more of these sorts of activities and things happening, which is really cool. So yeah, let's hope this spark keeps growing into a really big fire, I guess. Yeah, thank you.
Kia ora koutou, kia ora Pauline, and awesome to hear too, Victoria. Pauline, you're part of the ropu, big part of the ropu, so ngā mihi atu ki a koe. And Victoria, great to hear what's happening there with the APO. Taking kids for that experience is incredible and really mind-blowing, mind-opening. Awesome whānau. Okay, we're going to get into tonight's mahi. Now, Horomona likes to share a whakatauki, and he might have that later on, so we'll just wait while he parks his car up what the whakatauki is for this week. But can you remember one whakatauki from the last 3 weeks? You can type it up into our chat. In the meantime, it's a good time to review one of the ones that we do have.
Papai, am I stable again, bro?
Yeah.
Cool. I've come sort of like into the township of Ruatoria. So, in saying that whānau, I'm gonna test something out while you write down your whakatauki.
Yep. Ko te manu kai te mero nōna te ngahere, ko te manu kai te mātauranga nōna te ao. Oops. Typos. Kia ora. Can somebody give us a translation of what they think that is in your what do you think that is there? How would you apply that? Remember, these things that we give you too, a part there is food, he kai mo te waiata, mo te kai waiata. These can be used for those who are writing songs in the classrooms, and they can be expanded upon. They can be broken into smaller pieces if you understand what they mean. Bird and food. Kia ora, Victoria. Yes, something about bird and food. Has anyone ever tasted the miro berry from the miro tree?
Yep.
Yep. Ka pai. What does it taste like, Ron?
It's quite a sweet berry, quite a sweet little punch, but you can still have the fragrance of the tree wafting through your tongue.
Perfect description. Just like tōtara or kahikatea berries. Yep, you can still taste that kind of the, I don't know what you call it. It's almost a taste of, I don't want to put you off, whānau, so I'm not going to say anything. My brain thinks it's got a slight taste of turpentine in there. That's what I can taste. And that's something to do with the tree itself. But that means that it's a good protector for us. And the miro berry falls around autumn. Okay, so around autumn, as you'll see the miro berries all on the ground, and they're yum, quite delicious. So the bird who eats that one there will gather the knowledge, the local knowledge pretty much. It's saying if you eat locally, you know locally. But the bird that eats of knowledge itself will be able to walk the world freely. So both are actually they're quite important, aren't they? First of all, know local before you go global. And we as Māori do that a lot. We actually go overseas, and and some of us don't know our culture, and we get over there, and then someone says to us, hey, are you Māori? Can you speak to me in te reo Māori? Can you do a haka for me? Can you sing a song? Can you sing a waiata? And our people, quite often, that's the pathway to them learning about te ao Māori. As they come home, they're like, oh my goodness, I'm never ever going to be in that position ever again. And it's a spark for them to learn who they are first before they go overseas again. You know what I mean? So it's another way to apply that, is learn everything from where you're from first. Gather that local knowledge, and then the world will be your oyster. Or, if you're not into oysters, something else. Anyway, ka pai. That's enough. Kia ora horo. Did you have another whakatauki? We've some of our mahi too we're going to be going into today, whānau. We're going to go into breakout rooms after this too and discuss tikanga in music. What is tikanga? And before we do that, we have a little description of what tikanga is, so we won't throw you into the breakout rooms by yourself, but we wanted to talk about some tikanga in Māori music that you may be aware of or you may want to know about. Kia ora horo. Kei a koe. I'll give you the thumbs up. We'll get in that robotic voice again, but...
Can you see that?
Yep. Aye. Take a screenshot in case we lose you, because we've got perfect visuals.
Whānau, so this is a whakatauki. We just did one. And so if this whānau Whakaoho I te wairua kia rongo. Whakakoi I te hinenga kia marama. Ki ngā pūmanawa tuakiri a tangata whenua. So this whakatauki translates to, when you say this whakatauki to people, it allows them to understand, to awaken one's spirit to hear, to sharpen one's intellect to understand, to strengthen one's heart to have compassion, to the foundations of our identity as tangata whenua. Now this means tangata whenua not necessarily as just specifically Māori, but as people. And as people, when we are going into learning anything new, especially for a lot of our teachers that are out there learning new things with te ao Māori in a musical context, it allows you to find a better understanding, because it comes back to you as a person, not just as a teacher. So to awaken one's spirit to hear, because sometimes when you hear somebody saying, come to the marae, it's not just coming to the marae. It's coming to the marae, sitting down, having a cup of tea, and talking to the old people. When we say whakakoi I te hinengaro kia whakaro, we're not just saying to sharpen one's intellect to understand, but when you hear story from our old people, when you hear story from people of your marae, of the marae close to your school, it's actually allowing you and giving you the opportunity to learn and to find connection for you as the music teacher in the space of what's being said at the marae or with that Māori person that lives in your region. Whakauru I te ngākau kia marama, to strengthen one's heart to have compassion. You know, sometimes as teachers, we may not have a lot of time to listen to a kōrero and a cup of tea, but sometimes if we're really wanting to get the beauty in a waiata Māori that we're learning in class, or to hear the story of a taonga puoro of, as Carmel said tonight, you know, getting that pūkaia or that pūrerehua, when you actually sit down and embrace and hear the story of how it came to be, that's where the magic is. And that's where the foundations of any story when working with us as people are. And so in that whānau, it allows us to understand that whatever the kaupapa or whatever our mahi is with our people, it shows the importance of, you know, when we start talking about the tikanga foundations, when we start talking about the, you know, the insight to ihi, wehi, tapu, mana, these are those things that we must have allowance for. You know, whenever you go and see your nanny, you can't just go and see your nanny to say hi. Hey, everyone knows that. You actually have to go and take a packet of biscuits or a cake or some muffins, and you go in and have, and she's most probably going to make it, and she most probably has already made a cake. And it's not just saying, hi, Nan, I'm just going past. It's, hi, Nan, what you been up to? And then a whole story. So it's to be able to understand those particular things. And it doesn't take a genius to understand that or to find the processes of that. It's different for everyone. And so that this particular whakatauki, as we go along these weeks, just adds to the ones from last week and the week before, and te manu kai I te miro, you know, because it's when we can find that right middle. The middle is like our family. The middle is like our family, where when we can learn about our family, you know, we understand and have the strength of our family. When we learn about those things external to our family, it strengthens us, but it also can strengthen our family. And so in this kaupapa that we're doing these Tuesdays, it's really letting us know that, you know, in these spaces, you know, the continuation of reminding us this particular saying, you know, to delve deeper in the learnings through a Te Ao Māori lens, explore its musical histories and tikanga, learn and develop insight into key terms like ihi, wehi, wana, develop knowledge in traditional composition techniques and tikanga, as well as key Te Ao Māori concepts in Te Ao Puoro. Now, really to understand that, to actually even get an insight into that, doesn't take 8 weeks of 1 hour on a Zoom. Kelly and I, as practitioners in use, we are still learning how to develop our pukenga in these areas. And so in that, it's a continuation, it's a thing we learn for the rest of our lives. But for our teachers in the space of NCEA, for our teachers in the spaces of primary school, for our teachers in the space of teaching people in the different areas outside of school itself, you know, these are guidelines. They are guidelines to help us learn and to help us find, it may not be the answers, but find key elements to allow us to move to the next step. And so part of that is kōrero. Part of that is understanding. And so in terms of our kōrero this week in our breakout rooms, in our breakout sessions, I'm going to share the screen, and I'm not sure, no doubt everybody would have has seen what each week delves into. And this particular week, it comes into the tikanga. You know, everything has these particular understandings. And like on this page that everybody is seeing at the moment, you know, how do we as teachers find our own understanding into the world of music from a lens into our Māori? You know, every week we are only touching the surface. Every week we are opening a doorway for you to ask questions, not just to Kelly and I, not just to myself, Kelly, and maybe Ben or Christian, but is to go back to your schools and find, from the discussions we've had, who are the right people for me to talk to ask the questions. And sometimes they're not necessarily, and this is only a general assumption, but most places I've been to, and I've been to many schools up and down the country, it's not just the one Māori teacher that school has, or the kapahaka teacher that school has, or, you know, the auntie of the kids from the Māori family that goes to our school. You know, there are many, many scenarios. And in all of these particular scenarios, it's a question for you to find, well, you know, whether I am Māori or whether I am from Finland or whether I am from Australia or Ireland, you know, how do I, as a teacher, find my own understanding into the world of music from a lens in Ireland, in Finland, in the place where I'm from, not just the contemporary music, but the cultural. And how does that connect here in New Zealand to the music of Māori people, to the music of Pacifica people, to the music of New Zealand? And so in this particular question today, whānau, how music from Te Ao Māori is guided by ihi, wehi, tapu, and mana. These are 4 things that have so many different areas of understanding. Those 4 those 4 characteristics of each of these words. Ihi, integrity, is one aspect of ihi. Wehi, humility, that's one aspect of wehi. I've added tapu in here, showing the boundary lines, the sacred boundary lines. But in saying sacred boundary lines, or even saying tapu, it is not to scare you. It is just to let you know that there are boundaries in everything that we do as a culture. Just like every other culture in the world. There are certain things you don't do in certain areas on the marae, inside the wharenui, even in our classrooms. We do and don't do as Māori, as Indigenous peoples, as Pacifica people. And then mana, the cultural strength. Every culture in the world has mana. And how that is portrayed goes back to those particular people. And so with these 4 words in mind, whānau, this is when, once again, I'm going to find, I can't actually, I can't actually get to breakout session, so I'm gonna have to
I've
ask.
got to sort it out here. What? No worries.
Cool. And so we're gonna go into breakout sessions, whānau, and just have a firstly, what your perception of those words are to your group. We'll just have 2 rooms, just so there's nice kōrero, have about 6 in each room, and just to have a kōrero, what your understandings. If it's not ihi, it's integrity. What does integrity mean to you, and how you would show that in your classroom with your students, whether they're 5 years old or 15. Wehi, humility. How do you, as a teacher, show humility in the classroom? Not say it or teach it. How do you practice it with your students in your class? Tapu. What are the boundaries that you have in your classroom? Because if our students are wanting to understand what tapu means within music and within a Te Ao Māori lens or for Te Ao Māori lens, we have to understand, well, what are, firstly, our boundaries in our classroom? Can your students wear shoes in the classroom? Because some schools, they don't. Or do they put the bag up on the hook outside the classroom? Or do they chuck their bag underneath their desk? These boundary lines that you have in the classroom, let alone with Māori music in a Māori framework. And then last but not least, mana. What's the strength that you are portraying in your classroom to your students? And how is that being practiced, firstly, as a music teacher, secondly, as a person, if it is at all? And so there are many things that you can play with whānau, and we're going to do this for about 10 minutes. It's going to be a bit of a session, and it's going to be a bit of a kōrero. At the end of the 10 minutes, the group are going to share to the other group just bits and pieces of the
Can I'm going to make a suggestion, whānau, here. We're going to give group 1 ihi and wehi, and group 2 are going to have mana and tapu. So just 2 concepts per group, and then you can come back and feed in and teach each other. Now, first, before we go into those rooms, let's make sure we have a good overview of what these kupu are meaning, or how might you find out. So those who have ever used Te Aka, which is an online Māori dictionary, that's you can just go in there and type in these words in there too, and it can give you another overview. So if you want to use Te Aka, online Māori dictionary, it might help you out. We should have enough people in here. Hopefully, raise your hands up if you feel comfortable with the phrase ihi. Horo's given you one explanation of it, but don't use that as what we say as the only boundary of it. There are other ways of, cool, ka pai. What about wehi? Mana and tapu. Cool, okay, so we don't really have a great overview of what those terms are at the moment. We can go to a Wānanga on those, but just quite let's see what you come back with, okay? We'll just leave it over to you. Do you feel comfortable with that? I'll make sure that we've got Trevania and Victoria in different groups in there. I'll just go look at our breakout rooms again, whānau. Oh, there we go. You're both in a different group each. And come back. So group 1, room 1, you've got ihi and wehi. Group 2, mana and tapu. So those who are in group 2, that is Lenny, Pauline, Sarah, Stephen, and Trevania. That's group 2. Yep. Everybody else, you're group 1. So Lenny, Pauline, Sarah, Stephen, and Trevania are working on mana and tapu. Okay, see you in 10 minutes at te whānau. Make some notes. Come back and tell us about what these are. Those people who are watching us right now, because we've zoomed everybody else off to the breakout rooms. So those 4 terms, ihi, wehi, mana, and tapu, we'd really like you to have a look at them this week yourselves and look at the importance of them. But this is contextual. So the horopaki, or the context that Horomona has given us, is within the realms of you being a music educator. What are these 4 concepts? And we might give you a bit of a, we'll probably expand on those a little bit more when they come out of the breakout rooms. But I'll give you a concept of ihi right now, and then Horomona will also give you maybe a concept on wehi in conjunction with that, because those two go together very well. It's quite often talked about with ihi is an essential energy. It's an energetic outburst that your body, your soul will want to express. And something that could be like that might be when you go to a performance. You might go see a band on stage, and as they're performing, generally all the energy is channeled into the lead singer for the moment where the person's singing. And as they express and you get goosebumps, that expression of their inner energy is what we call ihi. And it raises up to a higher level, to a point where it gets basically expressed out of their body, and you feel it somehow. And now I'll pass it over to, in that same context, what wehi might be to Horo.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's a beautiful understanding, and because the connection with the kupu, like wehi is, in Te Ao Māori we have a whole range of sayings, and the word like wehi can mean to be very scary. It can also mean to be awesome. You know,
Ka mau te wehi.
Ka mau te wehi can be said like, "Whoa, that was amazing," or "Ka mau te wehi, that was terrible." You know? And at the same time, it can also mean to be humble. You know, and so it all depends on the context of the situation or the place. And so to be in wehi of something is it lets you know it's out of the norm. It's not something of the everyday. You know? So it's about something that's awesome, a response, something that you have. It's like a response. You see something and you're like, whoa, that's wehi nā. You know, and you're sort of like saying, whoa, that's pretty cool. But at the same time, it allows you to sort of like going, whoa, ka wehi nei, to hold myself together for what's about to happen. And so when you see and feel ihi and wehi, it allows you to know, oh, I can be excited, but I need to anchor myself in that excitement to bring control over what it is that we are in. And it's like that for music. You know, both Kelly and I, we've performed on stages all around the world. And you feel wehi, you feel ihi every time you're going onto that stage. Whether there's 10,000 people in front of you, whether there's 10 people in front of you. It's the ihi and that wehi that brings the music to life. If you had no ihi, or if you only had ihi and no wehi, you know, you are not your complete self. And so they are always together.
Kia ora, brother. So they're basically playing a dynamic game of almost like table tennis with each other. So the person on stage, the word maybe mana may come in later on, but a person on stage, if that person has mana, let's say that they become like Michael Jackson had immense mana because people around the world put him on that mantle of being a famous, amazing performer. Michael Jackson sings, and the spiritual energy of him producing his voice through aroha and all of his skills will hit the audience, and the audience may go, "Whoo!" As Horo said, "Ka mau te wehi." So basically, I've been captured by that unusual feeling, and that's the wehi that you feel. Michael Jackson on stage, if he's 10,000 people or 100,000 people with all that wehi and they feed it back to him, his ihi level goes up. He feels the wehi off them now. Then he sings another level, and then his ihi comes out, and it just goes backwards and forwards, and it raises up to this place that we call ecstasy within music, where the spiritual charge between the performer and the audience are actually intertwined. And as Horo said, you can't just have ihi without wehi. They play off each other. So this is some of the energy dynamics we work with inside of Te Ao Puoro, is how do we manage ihi and wehi? How do we generate it? How do we create goosebumps? How do we create the hot and the cold feeling inside of people? And that's ihi and wehi dancing. It's a beautiful dance.
And so when you're hearing us each of these weeks or seeing in the chats, when you jump on, you're seeing these whakatauki that we're sharing, and you're hearing some of these kōrero that we're bringing together. These are like feathers, and these feathers can help you spark or engage or even ignite certain aspects for your students to be able to be inspired by a proverb, whether it's a saying from a musician's lyric, whether it's a saying from the interpretation of one's composition. Torino, for example, and the Torino's carving just hits your heart, and you're like, oh, it gets you into a space that you just want to express your feelings for. That's what a combination of ihi and wehi can do.
Kia ora. Hey, Hoa, I'm going to go join Rōpū number 1, if you want to describe a little bit more about mana and tapu, if you feel like that, to a whānau out there who are watching. I'm going to go join group 1, and then I'll jump out, join group 2, and we'll come back in a couple of minutes. Kia ora, Hoa.
Awesome. Ka pai whānau. And so hopefully, as these groups are sharing their thoughts, like Kelly was saying, I know I'm a bit dark here, but like Kelly was saying, do a bit of homework, have a look at te aka, have a look at your Māori dictionaries at school, and question the explanation. Question the explanation and maybe ask. You might have a teacher in the Māori department at your school, or even your couple thoughts of it, what ihi is. And I'm telling you now, it's not just going to be one explanation. It's going to be a combination of understandings. And they'll most probably say too, although it is 3 letters, sometimes you can have 3 totally different paragraphs to explain each. And so what this does, it builds layers upon layers for you to find an insight. And how you would interpret that into your classroom. If a word like ihi, talking about integrity, or talking about, feeling that inner strength, or feeling that inspiration, you can challenge your students. And if you have a student that plays the violin, and a student that plays the piano, and then you show them a picture like we did last week, looking at the different pictures and finding explanations, you can go to them, well, how would you interpret the word ihi with this particular picture using your violin? And the violin, it may be something as simple as holding it and just doing one stroke up with your bow, and it's like ihi. And then from there, you can see the different patterns happening. And the same thing goes with the word wehi. how you would find the explanation and how you would find the different understanding. So all the whānau are coming back now, and so with that homework over this next week, have a look. Look back on this particular Zoom and even the other Zooms that have happened in the previous week, and just see what you can find and listen to the whānau that are going to share thoughts and their whakaaro on these words. And at the same time, like last week, have fun doing it. Always find, like Albert Einstein said, music is intelligence having fun. Have fun. Best way to learn.
Kia ora.
Ka pai whānau?
Tēnā koutou. We're going to go back into our... We've only got another 11 minutes going here on the clock whānau. So what we'll do is we're going to pass over, first of all, to Rōpū Tuatahi, Ihi and Wehi. And whoever you've chosen as being your spokespeople, person, kei au koutou te wā, group 1. And whenever you do talk, make sure you unmute yourself because we don't want to miss the gold.
Yes.
Kia ora mātua, Ron. I'll go after you.
Yeah. Kia ora. So we talked about ihi and wehi. There was a delightful story about a milkshake and a bit of an event in the class. It was delightful. And well, as I know, ihi, wehi, and wana, it's a movement of energy where it's an exciting place to be in. Then suddenly you're captured into that wehi, and you move again. And even though you've left all the ihi and wehi, it's still with you. It still stays with you. And in that transition or that process or journey, there is an essence, as we were just before we got cut off, it's about embracing that moment. It's about having humility that you're not the only important one in that space, that there are others sharing it with you. So share. Yeah, and yep, no, really enjoyed it. So I'll keep that short. Kia ora, Dale.
Kia ora, I just gave an experience when we were in our kapahaka rōpū, and we were to teach one of the students a karanga. So our lead teacher took our student outside. It was about 10 o'clock at night, and in the stillness of the night, all of her kupu, all of what she wanted to learn, we just heard these earring voices, just both of them, doing a karanga, putting the word, emphasizing each word, but it was actually in the context that it was supposed to be done. So it was her understanding what she's actually saying. And so the voices themselves, so she could see nothing. It was all about the night. It was all about the atua of the night. So she was put into that special context, that special place, two voices going while the rest of us were inside, and that's all we heard. So everything was still, everything was darkened, just to hear these voices. After that, though, when she was to perform that on stage, knowing it all, not feeling it through, was an amazing experience for her, and that it gave the audience goosebumps, because and the animation that goes with all of those words, because she had experienced it. So I said the wehi and the ihi, sometimes as teachers, allow your students to be put into the place of the context of the words that they're using, to give them that fuller wehi and ihi experiences that gives you goosebumps. And there is those special moments, which I said is what Victoria is mentioned earlier. That was so special for her. It is that wehi moments that we allow our students to have when they fully understand the words and the context around that, even if it's a musical history lesson, and allowing them to somehow be in that space where the words come to life. Yeah.
Beautiful, Adele. Geez, tēnō pai te kōrero, tā kōrua. Tēnō pai, pai rawa atu. Can't get better examples than that. We're not going to expand this out too much, but we will say, see the marae that's behind me in this picture here? And all marae like that, they darken the windows off quite often when they go into Wānanga mode and learn things like karakia, whai kōrero, waiata. They'll do it in the dark because we don't want our people learning all the time by reading. That's why one of the reasons why we darken it as well is that to stop the senses going into just being about the eyes now, actually to encapsulate all the senses. So what we're talking about here is a full sensory experience of ihi, wehi, and when you put ihi and wehi together, you get wana, and that sense of elation that you feel after you've been to an amazing concert and you come home and it's still sitting with you, as Ron was talking about, the feeling of wana, amazement. What is a phrase when we want to say awesome? Ka mau te wehi. Let's have a go at that phrase. Ka mau te wehi.
Ka mau te
Wehi.
Ka mau te wehi. Ka mau te wehi. Cool. Awesome whānau. Okay, we'll pass it over to Rōpū Tuarua now. Our mana and our tapu kōrero. Kia ora.
Kia ora. I'll hand it over to we'll hand it over to Stephen, Lenny. What do we got? Fill in the gaps. Mana and
Kia ora. I was talking about respect being, or mana being like something that you earn and not something that's just a given, that you have to earn it from the students and you build it with relationship, and without that there's not a lot you can do because they don't really care. So that's what it meant to me. And like Tapu, Trevani was talking about the difference between two words, which you'll be able to explain better than me, but I was in my mind thinking about it like a performance space, like you walk into a beautiful theater or something and it feels like something different, it feels like sacred somehow, or if somebody else is performing, you don't tread on their sacred space, you show respect and listen and learn and hear and understand what they're saying, not what you're thinking.
hello, Stephen. Anything else? Before we a little bit about
I can't remember anything else.
We had a little bit of kōrero about around mana, around it can be used with authority. I did share a kōrero, correct me if I'm wrong, Horo and Kelly, around mana being an introduced name post-treaty, and kind of when we're thinking about mana, we really want it to be contextual. So if we said whakamana te kaupapa or whakamana te tangata is about raising that prestige and that of that person or that group that has done something. So thinking about that, and the tapu side that Stephen was sharing around there and going in sacred spaces, we can look at tapu with noa again in context. We talked a little bit about pōwhiri process, and within that there's a tapu that comes with the pōwhiri process. For example, we wouldn't walk in front of someone who was speaking as a kai kōrero or for a whai kōrero, but once that after the pōwhiri process and we've had the kōrero, and then we shake, hands or rub noses and we have kapiti, then is the noa. So tapu and noa exist to support that kind of balance. So there's a lot more to speak on it. Yeah, but anything else, guys? Anything else? I think it's a great starting point we've had.
Ka pai. Yeah, whānau, that is a great starting point because, when it comes to these things, ihi, wehi, wana, for those that have actually read the things in the NCEA and the new wordings that has been put out there, we're going to actually sit in these kupu, not just tonight, but we're going to sit with these kupu next week as well, and we're going to take you through another little journey, sitting in and around, the tikanga the use of tikanga in these spaces when we come back, because and at the same time, hopefully these words from tonight have sparked something in you to what I actually, and I think Kelly will as well, is next week we actually want you to find a good question, not just to ask Kelly and I, but to ask the collective in regards to ihi wehi wana, and in this sense from tonight, ihi wehi tapu and mana. We want you to ask a question related to our kaupapa, related to that page that I show every week, delve into the learning of, right through to the end. And because we can't just say ihi wehi wana for one night and talk for 5 minutes about it and that's it. We actually have to, this is an ongoing kaupapa and it's only the beginning. So next week we're actually going to come back into these kupu, just with some additions of learning and some additions for all of us as a collective to kōrero about in our questions. So our introduction next week, when we do our 20-30 seconds, want that for everybody to actually throw their question to the group and use that and say, oh, well, in this last week, this is the question that I've come up with to ask the collective. And we will write it in the chat box and we will find time when we get together next week, what those questions are and how we can answer them and guide one another to those spaces. And then from the kōrero, Kelly and I can sort of like assist and guide how this will be done, how that is usually answered, or as a collective whānau, we can show one another and assist with one another on how to do it. Kei koe kōrero, Kels?
Kia ora, Horo. Thanks for laying out too what we're doing next week. Whānau, when we come back, bring your puoro as well. Start bringing in your puoro that you have. Now, I've just been lucky. I've just spent time with one of Hirini Melbourne's instrument makers over the weekend. And he was given, now I'll share this little part of his kōrero. He said that at the time, when taonga puoro was starting to come alive again, in that particular era, people didn't own massive collections of instruments like Horomona and I have. What you were encouraged to do at the time was people would maybe have 2 or 3 in their whānau collections, maybe even 1. And they'd have it for life, and they'd handle it for life. So you see those instruments in the museums, they actually got a patina on them, they've actually got hand oils, and they've been handled with loving care by 1 or 2 people for a very long time. And so what the whole idea was is you became an expert at that instrument. So those people could do things there, and Horomona is a really good example too, where he can, some of his taonga there, he's taken them to the next level. So trying to encourage our kids to connect to just one taonga at the moment, or 1 or 2 taonga, to become really good at, and the same for yourselves as well. So it is very tempting to get a really big collection as well, but remember that'll come over time. But really the whole idea was to master, and Te Ao Māori is about mastery of only a few things rather than being a jack of all trades. So that's one thing to put out there. It's a really good whakaaro too. Another one I'll say is about the word mana. Now, there was the talk about the kai karanga. So Adele talked about, taking the girl out there with one of the elders, with the older ladies, to actually learn the karanga. Now, there's a process inside of there where the girl may have had to go home and get permission even from her family to do the karanga first. Okay, so just be mindful in Te Ao Māori, even though we may say things like this and how things look, underneath there's a whole, there's tikanga that are involved. And so therefore, she had to ask her family for permission, and that's what we call whakamana. That whakamana is, yes, kei te whakamanau i a koe, kia tū, hei kai karanga. And it might only be for a short period of time that that girl was given the mantle to do karanga, only at the school, for instance. So when you ask our kids to do these things here, there's a process they have to go through too with their whānau to do some of these things which we consider to be tapu, as in it's not generally for younger people to do that most of the time, but we'll open the restrictions on it for now so she can do it in kapahaka. So we'll talk about those things too, and we're saying that so it's for cultural safety, so that you're not in the position where you might get our kids to do things you've seen other teachers do, And then they might kick back a little bit and go, hang on, you can't tell me to do that. My nanny told me I'm not allowed to do that yet. So just to be mindful of some of those practices, and that's what we're here for, to keep you safe. So that's all I've got to offer today. Awesome Wānanga, really cool kōrero that came out in those breakout sessions. And I really appreciate you bringing out your own stories in the whānau. Next week, as we said, bring a puoro. Come ready to unpack a little bit more about ihi, wehi, mana and tapu. And we threw in another word in there, wana. Ihi, wehi, wana, mana and tapu. And we're going to now put that into the context of tikanga, which is the framework of how to do things right in the correct way. Yep, the tikanga around some of these instruments as well, for instance. And some of them are just like common health and safety. Or they're common, hey, if you do that, it'll break. Or one like this, tikanga, this one here, is don't go have a kai and then you go straight away and blow it, because you're going to gum it all up with all your food in there. So there's some basic ones that are in there. We try and keep them away from eating practices like that. Sometimes people go into a state of fasting. They don't, when they're doing these things, depending on the ceremony. So yeah, kapa, and we'll talk about all those there. And it's really good to take our kids through some of those tikanga too, to put them through a state of fasting even before they do something that we consider to be sacred, mate. Yeah? All right. That's me. Anything else from you, Brother Horo?
Oh, Napai whānau. So for tonight, remembering our whakatauki, and in the whakatauki, whaka-oho-oho i te wairua kia rongo, to awaken one's spirit to hear. Whakakoi i te hiringaro kia whakaro, to sharpen one's intellect to understand. Whaka-u i te ngākau kia marama, strengthens one's heart, right? To strengthens one's heart, to have compassion. I ngā pū manua tuakiri a tangata whenua, to the identity of our foundation as people. And so in that whānau, that's us for tonight. And I see Kelly's put up a karakia, and so I'm going to ask someone who's keen to say that. Up by Victoria.
Mā te oro o te ua e horoi kia wātea. Mā te oro o te hau e oho kia matara. Mā te oro o ngā taonga, nā hina raukatauri, ka mārire tātou, ake, ake, ai.
Ai, ka pai, and there we go. This is the translation. That's from your own Mensa peeps. That's from Ben. Kia ora, Ben. I'm pretty sure you're going to watch this over the week. And thank you for that karakia. And has anyone here actually memorised that karakia? Ka pai. And that's the one we'll make sure that we utilise a little bit more of as well. Maybe as a finishing off one, eh? That could be our finishing off karakia. It's a nice one. Mauri ora kia tātou.
Mauri ora.
Do something wonderful for someone else in your life this week, and we'll see you next week.
Mauri ora.
Kia ora tātou.
Kia ora.